Hey, and welcome to the show. This show is brought to you by Patreon members like you.
Thank you for being a Patreon member.
As a Patreon member, you get a video of the podcast that we put out twice a month.
Now, on with the show.
Hey from Chicago. Hey from Florida. What's happening? What's up, peep? What's up from Oregon? How is Florida? Florida's hot. You know, hot and wet. I mean, that's pretty much, if you want to live in Florida, you just have to get used to being hot and wet. Good or bad, you just have to get used to being hot and wet. Lance, what's up, man? Been binging your channel a little bit. Hello, everyone. Hey, from Canada. What's up from H-Town? Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Happy Monday, Robert Van Hoy. I gotta admit, I'm kind of tired. You know? Like,
yeah.
Like, I just like, what did you do with that?
What's up, Mike?
Put it away over there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shoot. I'll grab that. My bad. Oh, is yours locked? I don't think I locked yours. I know mine's locked. There we go. Alright, let's get this going.
We like.
You guys are awesome? I don't know about that. We're just two dudes. But Texas in the house, what she said, yeah. What's up, fellas? I'm out here cleaning the garage, but I took a break for dinner.
Oh, nice.
Well, you gotta do that, Hi-Fi Vega. Gotta do that. You guys deserve another vacation. I'm not gonna dispute you on that one. I would just like 2 days off in a row, and that's kind of what, next month we get that Monday off. Woo, Australia, what's up from down under? Do you like Diamond Audio? Honestly, I don't know enough about Diamond Audio currently to have an opinion on it. When Diamond was owned by its previous manufacturer, we were a huge Diamond dealer. We got the plaque and everything. But I'm not up to speed on their latest round of products. I know I try to be up to speed on everybody's stuff, but I know they're really hot and heavy into motorcycles. They just came out with some new marine/motorcycle stuff. They have the small power sport amplifiers, but yeah, I mean, it all looks like nice stuff, but I'm not like, you know, really. Would you guys recommend using a DSR-1 as a standalone DSP? Yeah. We do it quite frequently, actually, because of its price point, obviously, and its physical size. It is kind of a hard thing to ignore and be like, oh, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Before we get too deep into this, what I'd like to do is I'm going to switch over here to the laptop, and we'll get us back over here. Picture in picture, there we are in the bottom corner. For those of you guys new, this is the 12-volt Clean Wire Club here on Facebook. Every Sunday, Fernando scours through all the pictures you guys have put up for the week, and he finds someone that is worthy of having the top of the page. And this week, I will say, you picked a really nice one. I like this one too. I love these 3D printed wire stacks right here. Those are pretty cool. Actually, those are really cool.
They're really nice.
And who do we owe this one?
That's Bryce.
This is Bryce?
Yep.
All right, Bryce, you did a phenomenal job with your Helix DSP. Up there looking all sexy. This obviously is the Helix DSP amplifier. Yeah, I like it. I like
That's
this.
pretty nice.
I love these. This is what really, when I saw this, I was like, oh,
that is
cool.
nice.
I like that a lot. And I think there's the guy that printed them was talking about you can buy them from him. So
Oh, really?
I think in the comments they were talking about that because everyone else kind of thought that was really cool too. So
There you go.
anyways, if you guys, anyone can become a member of the Clean Wire Club. This week we're finishing up the giveaway, so if you're unfamiliar with that,
Yeah.
hey, do you think you can just pull the whole
Oh, no,
cable over?
that's my water, man.
You're looking at your water?
Yeah. Why not?
All right, well I'll switch to Fernando Cam 4 here.
All right,
so we're going to Fernando Cam. What we got here is the giveaway that's going on the Clean Wire Club right now. These are the Kingpin Clean Wire Caddy. We did a whole video last week. If you'd like to enter to win these, all you have to do is go to the video and put I want, and that'll make you eligible to become. That's all you got to do to be eligible. So we have two.
Yeah.
All right. One that is still in the box, ready to go. We're gonna send that away, but we've been talking about it, and what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna give 2 away. But I will tell you right now. Go to the corner. Go to the corner in that one. So, got a little excited with it, and so you're gonna get this one. But if you'll notice, there's a little crack right there. That's my fault. I got a little excited. I did put glue on it, so it is not going to get any worse. But if you get this one, you'll know. The other thing I think we're going to do too is we'll take it all apart. We'll pop it in the laser and we'll put a 5-star logo on it somewhere, so that you guys will know that you had 1 and 2.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll just do it on the holder. I'll do it somewhere on the holder. I haven't figured out where, but we'll put a 5-star logo on it. But we're going to get both of them away. U.S. residents only, or international. I mean, you know, it's like anything else. I've sent things international before. I know the shipping on them sucks. It usually costs me more to ship it than the thing is worth. But you guys are fans all over the world, so by all means, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I mean, you know, I sent a pair of sunglasses to New Zealand, so I mean, God.
That was the most expensive.
Free sunglasses cost me $40 to send to New Zealand. Oh my God. But hey, you know what? It's just all part of it. I don't care. You guys are fans. So make sure you do that on that video, not this video, because that's silly. But that's the Clean Wire Club. Thanks you guys for participating. And also, real quick, as we round it up, for those of you guys that have not been paying attention to the show, Ground Zero is celebrating their 25th anniversary with their cool speakers. So make sure you head over to groundzerousa.com. Check them out. See what they got. They got a lot of neat stuff. They have some... Like, all right, hold on. Where are my amps? Where are the ones that I want?
The reference.
Is it the reference? Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on. Let me go here. Let me turn on the camera. These guys right here, guys. These are... Every time we go to Knowledge Fest, they have a set of these just hanging out. And, oh, man.
Saludos, Jose.
Look at the inside of that. Oh, my gosh. These things are gorgeous.
They say it's
so
pure...
Sexy.
Pure what?
It's pure love. I don't know. Pure sex?
Sound quality, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's in German.
Nice,
I'm on the German website.
Oh, really? Wow.
But anyways, oh my God, these are so sexy. These are so sexy. Those are some of my dream amps right there. So make sure you guys head over and give Ground Zero some loving, because we'd like to thank them for being a sponsor of the show. All right.
All right.
What are y'all working on in the background? If you want to see what this is, I strongly recommend going over to Instagram and go to the five-star car stereo Instagram page. If you're not familiar with that or you don't have Instagram, it's worth getting there. But we show the whole thing. I will show you the one piece we are putting in the dash. Fernando cam number 4. Here we go. This is the Morel. We're putting in a set of Virtus Carbon Nanos. Those are those ultra thin speakers, and this is the tweeter that's going up in the dash. This is the size of the factory speaker. It's very weird, but it sits at an angle like this in the dash. So we made these so that the tweeter is going to sit the right direction. It aims it up just a little bit, and that's why it has this, so that the tweeter has plenty of a nice dispersion path. Yeah, there we go. Anyways, this is the mount for them here, and as usual, we put a cool Morel logo in it because that seems to be what's going on lately. Everything's getting a cool Morel logo. But this is the driver/passenger side, because as you can kind of see here, this is the steering wheel. So it's a right-hand drive. It's a Subaru van, so it's pretty cool. What's up, Lewis?
What's up, Lewis? Jeff Smith.
What size braided loom for Stinger 4-channel? Okay, so the nice thing about the 8000s is it's already pre-loomed. So you really don't need to loom them. They come with loom over them. I mean, it's... Do we have an open...
Which one?
2? No, 3. That's the 3. Yeah. Oh, grab the little card. Can you grab that one, please? But those already have loom on them, so there's really no point in looming over them again. I mean, unless you just want to double loom them. But... so these are the Stinger X3s, which are the same as the 8000s. They're the exact same, they're just different colors. Grab your cam. And as you can see, they already have braided loom over them. So if you, and it doesn't matter if it's a 6 or if it's a 4, so there's really no need to put more braided loom on them. The 8000, this is just a different color, and this is a different color here. But if you like the copper, it's the same cable. It's just what you get with the X3 over the 8000 is this beautiful copper coloring, as opposed to
similar to the 8000.
Yeah, so I think the 8000s, these are like silver, but the 8000 has the braided loom on them, so really kind of no point in doing double duty on there. But if you did half-inch would work. Yo, what's up, Johnny?
What's up? You guys drug. What is your suggestion for 210 SQ subs for a downfire and seal box? 0.5 cube.
Ooh, that's gonna be small.
Have an amplifier.
Does the arc make a on the shallow arc? Does that have a? Do they only make a 10? Do they only make a 12 or a 10?
I think that's the only. That's
they only make a 12.
12. Yeah.
That sucks, because that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. But I don't know. Maybe you can check.
Right? Yeah. Maybe I could check.
You have that thing right there. What's up, Bobby?
They do. That would be really nice. All right. What do you got?
All right, hang on.
Yeah, I'm hanging on. Still here. Still hanging. Hanging tough like New Kids on the Block.
Do you know where can I find the VSS? Yeah, I know.
Dang, that sucks.
Hold
on. Let me, before, okay, so for those of you guys that are wondering what I'm looking at here, I was looking at the Arc Audio. This guy here, this super sexy, we've had it on the show before. Works in very small airspace, obviously. It is super tiny, but it is a very awesome sound quality sub. And this is, but they only make them in a 12. So, bummer there. If you want to go loud, you could go with like the new Kicker L7 square short L7Ts. Might be the way to go there. Or JL. JL's, the W3s. Yeah, nice. Okay.
All right. Do you know where can I find the VSS wire on a 2001 Tundra?
Dude, if it even has one. It probably doesn't even have one. Some of those cars, that was way, pre... I mean, it may have one. But no, I have no idea where to find it.
How are those Virtus in the Subaru?
So the only reason why you'd need the vehicle speed sense is for the new Pioneer radio. The new Kenwood radios, the GPS antenna is strong enough to where you don't need VSS. And even on the Pioneer radios, you don't need it either. But on the new radios, you do get a pop-up every time the phone pairs up that says VSS not detected, and you have to select OK. It's really stupid. But, that was the bad thing. I know Alpine used to have it on their website. You could find the VSS wire, but they don't have that anymore. Okay, go on.
How are those Virtus without... How they sound without an enclosure? This?
Well, this is a tweeter.
And the mid-bass.
The mid-bass in this truck is in a baffle, so it has a small baffle behind it. It's not free air by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, every speaker is going to suck. It doesn't matter what it is. If you hold it in your hand and the front of the driver can see the back of the driver, they're not going to work. So you need some form of a plane to mount the speaker on that the front wave and the back wave never come in contact. As long as you have that, they're going to sound phenomenal. I mean, because for the most part, a door speaker is an infinite baffle speaker, and it works in a huge amount of airspace that's not reasonable to assume you could put it in an enclosure.
All right, I ran a Kicker key lock setup several times. After the second LED was swiping, through, it gave me a power in 4-5 LED error. I thought it failed several times, then it worked by itself while I was in the error indicator. Do you receive a similar problem?
We have not had any problems with the key lock. However, all the key products, I will tell you this on, something to keep in mind is that they have a digital input, okay? So the gain section on those is digital. It's not an analog input, it's a digital input. If it's clipping at all, any form of clip goes into it, it will give you an error. So I mean, there is no room for error on that. When they tell you that light needs to be off, they are not kidding. That light needs to be off. So don't gain up, go crazy on the gain at all, or you will get an error on it because it doesn't know what to do with it. It just automatically, because it's ones and zeros, it just sees it as a crash code. And we'll move on.
All right. Trying to find out what works better.
Hello from Vegas.
I have a Pioneer 2550 NEX with a 300 watts 4-channel amplifier and a 300 watts self-power sub. About 3 weeks after installing it, to get feedback, getting the feedback noise intermittently. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What would you recommend? Inline powered noise filter like Access, the model number AX&N R1000 inline powered noise filter.
So what kind of device is it? Is it an amplifier or a DSP?
It has 2 amplifiers. It's 4-channel and the power sub.
Okay.
And now he got noise.
So I mean, it really just depends. I mean, you got to kind of figure out what's causing the noise. I mean, if it wasn't there and now it's there, that's usually something went goofy. Like you could have a speaker that might be shorting, the voice coil could be shorting to the basket. You could have something that maybe got a loose ground. You could have something that happened behind the radio. There's a lot of things that could be the issue. I mean, yes, you could just go out and buy some inexpensive noise filters, pop it in there, and if that solves the problem, spectacular. Life is good. So it just depends on where the noise is coming from. You kind of have to do a little bit of investigation to find it before you just slap some noise filters on there and call it a day. To answer the question, the giveaway video is located right here if you're on the Clean Wire Club, where it says giveaway time. This is where it's at. As you can see, everyone down here is saying, I want to win. So this is the video you're going to, it's pinned at the top of the page, so if you go to the Clean Wire Club, it's right there. Can't miss it.
Do they make speaker brackets for the rear speakers of the Toyota Sienna?
No.
Or what will you do?
Make them from scratch. This big mess that you see over here, this is all for making speaker brackets. Today, there's a sander and a handheld router out right now because we had to use those to make the brackets to mount the speakers in this. But that's just pretty much what you got.
Do you watch the Morel Liquid Gold video yet?
No, I have not.
Really?
Yeah, it started today. It was today. It was.
Shame.
No. Oh, seriously, bro. I bought a DSR one because Dean told me to.
There you go.
Send me all your money. Oh. I want to win. I know, Bobby. It's okay. When is the new show? Okay, good. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you for asking. So, the new show, for those of you that are unfamiliar with what we do on Facebook, we have what we do on YouTube. We have 2 YouTube channels. The second one is Dean and Fernando's Car Stereo Clips, this channel right here. And as you can see, these 2 guys just floating along right here, kind of similar to these 2 guys in the bottom corner. So what we do is we take all this information, all the Q&As, and we put them there so it's easily to search, and you guys you can find the stuff. But what we're going to do Friday at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time is we're going to be doing a news show, not a Q&A show. So we're not going to be taking questions. So if you're hoping to ask questions, they're not going to be there. But if you'd like to say, hey, good morning, great. We're going to talk about 12-volt news. So we're going to talk all about the things that are happening behind the scenes, in the scenes with this wonderful car audio industry. And of course, don't forget there will be a giveaway. We have Ground Zero mugs to give away. So each show will go ahead and give away a nice coffee mug because most of you guys will be drinking coffee. But we wanted to do something that was different time frame because some of you guys, you like morning stuff. So it'll be 9 a.m. Friday morning. This Friday morning will be the first show. We're pretty excited. So 12-volt news. I know. How exciting. So
do the passive radiators sound as good as the Porter box?
No, not really, but they do sound better than a sealed box. So in some cases you can't build the port. Like there's not enough room for a port, and that's where the passive radiator comes in handy. So they do add to the enclosure and sound good. you know, but it's still it's a Band-Aid but not really. So it's definitely something you can do and make your box sound better.
All right, what kind of setup do you recommend for an F-150 XLT 2016? Looking for quality sound, fidelity with more punch.
So when you're designing a system, what you have to kind of do is figure out, first off, what your budget is. That's always going to be the number one thing. What is your budget? Because how much money you're going to spend is directly going to reflect the amount of stuff you're going to buy and what brands you're going to buy. So, do you want a DSP? Do you want a new radio? Do you want, how many amplifiers do you want? Do you want 110, 212s, 15? So, how much power are you going to need? These are all questions you got to kind of ask yourself. So, the better question would be, how do I do this? So, the first thing is, always start with the source unit. Are we keeping the factory or replacing it? If we're replacing it, well, simple enough. Head over to one of these places, pack-audio.com, maestro.idatalink.com, metroonline.com, navtv.com, mobridge.com. Okay, those places there. And you can look up the parts it's going to take to replace your radio. Now, if you're keeping your radio, those same places are also going to be where you're going to go to see if they make any form of adapter to convert your factory radio over to RCA. Not necessarily high level to low level, but smart harnesses that do the same thing. We've talked about them a bunch on the show. So that's where you start. Figure out which one you're going to do. Now, obviously replacing the radio could cost a little bit more, but there again depends, because if you're buying some form of a smart harness to integrate with the factory radio and a DSP, well, then it's about the same amount of money. So those are things you're going to have to figure out. Then from there, let's figure out power. There again, the easiest way to think about power is sub. Do I want 210s? Do I want 212s? What do I want? So if we're doing a pickup truck, it's going to go underneath the seat with two shallow woofers. Personally, I like 10s. Some people will try to do 12s just because. But 500 to 600 watts for a set of 10s is usually pretty good, like some Kicker Comp RTs. So a 5-channel amp isn't out of the question. Then, do I want a 5-channel amp with a DSP built into it? Do I want to do a 4-channel amp and a mono block with a DSP built into it? Do I want to do a standalone DSP? The other thing is, while I'm thinking about that, space requirements. How much space do I have for amplifiers? Are they going to have to go under the seats with my subwoofers? Are they going underneath the front seats? So maybe I need to look at a small footprint amplifier, something like a audio control ACM, something like a Rockford Power Series T, Mini T amplifier, which are consequently what we use in a lot of Chevys because they're small footprints, and you get a 404 instead of 50.1. If you're just going to do 110, you could go with like a 1005. And then as far as DSP goes, you could slap a DSR1 in there. And then it comes down to speakers. What kind of speakers do I want? And for that, you think of the tweeter. So there's basically two types of tweeters out there as far as the materials they're made out of. You have your metal or hard dome tweeters, and then you have some form of a cloth or a soft dome tweeter. Your soft dome tweeter is obviously going to be a little bit more tame, a little bit more, I'm not going to say musical, but more instrument orientated. However, the hard dome tweeter is it can be brighter. It can be more what some people will call clean. I don't know. They come up with unique words all the times. So you kind of figure out from there what I'm looking for. Do I want overall loudness, in which case that hard dome tweeter might be the way to go, or a really expensive set of soft domes. So once you figure that out, then obviously that can snowball into what mid-range, because you're going to just go with the corresponding mid-range that comes with the tweeter. So the two speakers to look at, just give you an idea, like Focal is a hard dome tweeter, Morel is a soft dome tweeter. Two totally different sound signatures, both very awesome sounding, both very loud, both very like, yeah. It's just a matter of what you're looking at. So that's more the steps to take instead of just giving us the blanket statement of what should I do. The other thing too is what type of music do you listen to. You always got to consider that as well. Okay, go.
All right. Running an audio control D4.800 with a 4-gauge kit running from the battery. Adding an audio control LC 1.800. Can I run a 0-gauge from the battery to the distribution block and then 4-gauge to each amplifier? Or
yes.
Should I run a 4-gauge kit from the battery?
You can do either or. So if you want to run 2 4-gauge kits, you already got one in there. Running a second 4-gauge kit might save you some money. However, if you're all about like, dude, I got 1 4, I'll pull it out, put a 0, I'll use that 4-gauge as my distribution block wire, then definitely do that. Get the 0-gauge in there. Either one of them, you'll end up with the same result. It's just a matter of, do I want 2 wires or do I want 1 wire? 1 wire obviously is going to be a little more clean because you only got to have 1 big fuse holder underneath the hood as opposed to 2. So, if there's tight space. But yeah. It really doesn't matter though. I mean, we'll do both just because it just depends on where the amplifiers are going. If they're going to be side by side, obviously it's way more clean to have a 0-gauge, but whatever works for you. What's up, Jason? Froze in the house.
What's up, Jason? Dean, you were saying early this year the Addison Voce were wine and cheese.
Yes.
Hertz were beer and pretzels.
Correct.
Then what would you call the Addison Prima?
So, the easiest way to say this is, so first off, let's understand what Prima is. So, Addison is the brand, and then obviously they have Voce, they have, what's the big one?
The Thesis.
Thesis, okay. And those are like the extreme. But then they came out with the Prima because they wanted something that was a little bit more, I'm going to use the word affordable, but they also wanted something that was a little bit more universal and could do more with it. So like a Prima amplifier is a small footprint. You could put it anywhere. It's 8 channels. Both the regular Prima and the Forza are both 8 channels. And the idea behind it was they're not real powerful. So the first one only has like 8x35. The Forza is 8x80. But the speakers are super efficient and they work well together. So it's like a whole system. So you can build in a Prima system into your car and it all is going to be loud and sound good. And the idea is, this is one of those cases where if I'm using a Prima amplifier, I should definitely use Prima speakers because it works better. Now, with that being said, what is it still wine and cheese? It is still definitely wine and cheese. There's no doubt about it. However, it's maybe craft cheese as opposed to the stuff you can't pronounce, and it's maybe wine in a box as opposed to, sat on the shelf for 20 years before you drank it. And that is not to say that it's cheap, because I know plenty of people that love craft cheese and love wine in a box, but they still like to sit there on the back porch and drink wine and cheese. It just doesn't matter where it comes from. It's still that type of really awesome, exquisite sound, but you get it for a much more reasonable price. But it's a complete system. Hope that answers that.
My kicker key amplifier doesn't turn on the first click of the ignition key. I have to start the car before it turns on.
So there's a couple things that be causing that. One is, how is the amplifier hooked up? Is it hooked up to an aftermarket radio or a factory radio? If it's hooked up to a factory radio, then you grabbed ignition instead of accessory. There are 2 different things. Ignition only is on when the car is running. Accessory is only on when the car is on that first click. So if it's hooked up to a factory radio, that could be why. Secondly, there's also a problem where it could be voltage, meaning you have a battery that doesn't have a lot of voltage, and the amplifier sees that, it says it's not going to turn on until it sees what it wants. That's not as likely. If it is a aftermarket radio and you're hooked up to a remote turn on, then that's really weird. Wine in a box. I don't drink wine. I wouldn't know. So I mean, I don't do alcohol. So to me, it's all just funny.
How can I run 8 speakers in a 2019 Mustang GT? I have a DSR-1. I'm going to need 2 or 4 channel amplifier. Then there's sub amplifier.
Okay.
That's it. That's his question.
Can you answer it? I was laughing at Fernando cheese.
Okay.
I totally got sidetracked.
How can I run 8 speakers in a 2019 Mustang GT? I have a DSR-1 and I'm going to need 2 4-channel amplifiers.
Yeah.
2 4-channel amps. Then the sub amp.
So that's 9 channels. The DSR-1 isn't going to do that. So here's what you would, if you're trying to use the DSR-1 to go 9-channel active, you can't because it's only 8 channels. So here's what you would have to do in order to achieve that. You would have to use channel 1 and 2 to power the mid-range and the tweeter. So you would have to do some form of a passive crossover between the mid-range and the tweeter. A company that does that right out of the box is Focal, the K2s. That's actually how the passive crossover is designed. So you'd have to have a capped coil between those mid-range and that tweeter in order to play it that way. Now you can still do it on an amplifier. So if you bought an 4-channel amplifier that was had a better crossover built into it, that had like bandpass crossovers built into it, then that would make it really simple, because you would just come out of the DSR1 as a high pass, which would be the bottom for the mid-range, and then you'd bandpass the top of the mid-range and then a high pass for the tweeter. Or just get a bit Nove from Audison that has a 9-channel output. It's a little bit more money, however, it's made to do exactly what you're talking about. Or if you just want to, you can get into like a Helix 8-channel amplifier, and that'll have 9 channels output, or go with a Forza that is 8 channels with a Forza amp would do that too, so like we were talking about. But that would be the only way you could do it with the DSR1. You could go passive crossovers and have somebody make you a set of passives, and then you'd only need 7 channels of you would need 7 channels of amplification. But yeah, it's really not the DSP to do 9 channels from. Okay.
All right. Can I run 2-way active in a 2019 Fusion without running new speaker wires in the doors? It's not an amplified system.
So if the tweeter and the mid-range are both mounted in the door, the answer to that question would be no. You would have to run a set of wires into the door for the tweeters. They are not, if it's a non-amplified system, then they're not going to have 4 wires in the door. They're going to have a Y that comes off the bottom mid-range and goes up to the tweeter. If the tweeter's inside the car, well then you wouldn't obviously have to run wires in the door. You just run a new set of wires up to the tweeter. But yeah, so that could suck.
Alright, so thank you for answering my question. I got a key lock because of you. It didn't seem like that was a clipping issue. It really seems like the auto setup says it fails, but then continue flashing after about a minute and say it fails.
Yeah, the only reason why the only thing that Kicker's ever said to us why they would fail is if it has a clipped input. That's it. That's it. However, do call Kicker for sure. They have great tech support, and they will help you walk through it and explain. And it's a new product, so by all means, call them, because if there is some form of an issue with your car that it's not doing what it needs to do, then they'll want to know. What's up, Bill?
All right. The noise feedback through the speakers is actually an alternator noise. I didn't include that a while ago.
Well, I figured it was a whine. So just to give you an idea on whine, a whiny sound, what could cause that? There's a lot of things that can cause a whiny sound. It might not be something as simple as like a loose ground or a bad RCA or a speaker that's shorted out, but they all make the same sound. So I mean, we've literally had a truck here and there's been a whine, and we're like, what the heck? And what happens is we start unplugging speakers and RCAs, and it turns out it's this. When this wire in the passenger front door was connected, we'd have the whine. As it turned out, even though the speaker was playing, there was a short going to the basket, so that was causing the whine. I had a Mustang that I tried everything in, and it actually turned out to be a spark plug wire that was causing the issue. There was just a bad spark plug wire, and luckily for us, but that's what it was, and I didn't figure it out. I was just like, there's nothing more I can do for it. I don't know what it is. And they took it to the dealer. They had a recall on spark plug wires. And he's like, hey, calls me up. He's like, oh my God, that fixed the problem. I was like, oh, wonderful. So there's a lot of silly things that can cause alternator whine that's really not necessarily anything to do with the alternator. You can get it too by using the wrong set of RCAs with the amplifier, whether you used a standard coax style RCA or a twisted pair. If the amplifier is not made to accept the twisted pair, not all of them are, then you can get noise that way too.
Will be better to run 2 Focal Power K2s 40KX? It's a CO box or infinite baffle through the rear deck.
So that would be a
Yes.
question for Jeff Smith, because he's all excited about doing infinite baffle through the rear deck. Infinite baffle is a great way to like get a great sound. Gary Biggs, his trunk, with the infinite baffle drivers in the back of it, that sounds phenomenal. Here's the problem. A lot of people think that infinite baffle might be easier because you're just cutting holes, dropping them in. It's not. It's actually a lot harder, because for one, you have to make sure that the trunk is totally sealed from the front of the car. Totally sealed. If any air escapes around to the front of the vehicle, it doesn't work, because the trunk infinite baffle means that it's just a really large box, but it still has to be an enclosure. So even though it takes like a 10-foot box, it still needs to be sealed. So that means that those woofers are going to go in, and then you have to seal off the total front from the rear. They can't see each other. And you have to have a super baffle too, like 2 or 3 thick, because it has to be super rigid. So sometimes, that's why a lot of people don't do them. It's a lot of work to get it right. Box, 6 sides and a hole.
All right, how would I go about wiring component speakers with the built-in crossover in the Toyota CHR when the mids and the tweeters are connected at the tweeter side? The 6.5 is in the door and the tweeter it's in the pillar.
What is he trying to do?
Wiring the components.
You run new wires to the tweeters.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what you have in the Toyota is exactly what we're talking about. There's 4 wires at the tweeter. 2 of them are inputs, 2 of them are outputs, and then that little adapter that plugs onto it has 2 out that go to the tweeter. You have to loop them. So a lot of the times what we'll do is we'll actually remove that bracket off of the tweeter, just on side of the leads, take it off, cap those off, plug it back in, and you're back in business. You've created the loop. If you can't do that, obviously you can snip and twist the 2, solder them together, and you've created that. And then what you do is you run a new wire up to the tweeter. So like if you saw this is the new wire up to the tweeter. We're not using the factory wiring. We're going to go full active on this. If we were going to go passive, it wouldn't matter. So we'll have a wire that comes to the tweeter, and then you can use the existing wire that goes off into the mid-range, grab it behind the radio, and move on if you want. But that's what you got to do. You just got to loop them back together.
Can you show how you mount those Virtus pancakes?
How you mount them?
How you mount them?
There's 4 screw holes. Not those. He's talking about
The ones that you have right now. Right here. No. Just take this one and just open the door.
I don't know if that's gonna reach.
Yeah, totally gonna reach.
It's totally gonna reach.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, ready? That's it.
Hang
You
on.
good?
I'm gonna need a light.
All right, I got it.
Whoa. Whoa, go easy. Oh yeah, there's a light right there. All right.
All right.
Switch it over. All right. So here's what we got going on here. Let me set this light. What we made was this thick brace here, and behind the speaker is 2 rivets that hold this into place. As you can see, it is 1.5 inches thick off the firewall. This is just white white Sentra, and then there's closed cell foam on the back of it. There's also some sound treatment behind it, 4 Allen head screws, and that's it. It just goes in. And the front bumper here, you can see, so we took the bumper off, and you can see where the silicone, where the 3M caulk is, covering it up to keep it nice and dry, so that it doesn't have any rust issues or anything like that. But that's it. And then on the driver's side, it was a lot more fun. Trying to see it here.
Yeah, you can see it.
So on the driver's side, we had to remove the gas pedal, and this one's shaped a little bit different, but still does the same thing, mounts in place the same way. And those pedals don't get anywhere near the speaker. So, and your feet kind of push down on the pedal, so you're not going to have any issues there.
All right.
No, it's one. I was gonna say, why would you go to laptop?
Oh, because that's better than.
Oh, okay. My bad. But anyways, that's how those mount into place in that car.
All right.
Good times.
Oof.
We just need that wireless system to come in, and then I won't have to do that.
Question: running 8-channel DSP.
Yes.
Channel 1 and 2
Yeah.
put a set of horns under the dash. 3 and 4 mid-range in the doors. 5 and 6 mid-bass, 7 and 8 to a mono running subs. But 2 additional channels for a set of tweeters in this cell panel to bring the stage high up. My head unit, it's a Pioneer PRS-80 right now. It's in the standard mode. You guys think it's wise to switch the network mode to have the additional 2 channels for the tweeter power from the head unit?
Well, see, then the problem is what do you feed the DSP with, because you can't get a 4-range signal out of the radio.
Right, it's just like...
Because you're going to have a bandpass channel. So, I mean, really what you're talking about is kind of like the problem we ran into on the previous one, where you had the not enough channels to do what you're trying to do. So you're going to want to combine things. So maybe combine the horn and the mid-range onto the same channel, and just cap off the horn so that it doesn't play as low as the mid-range. That'd be the I mean,
so other than that, you gotta need like a 10 channel.
Yeah, like a 10, like a DM 810 from Audio Control. Hey, Chris Bennett, stopping by to say hi.
Hey, how can I put a Sony XAVAX5000 if you don't make a double DIN dash kit and they only make a single DIN kit? That was the one on there.
That was the one earlier today. And the answer's still the same. If they don't, I mean, you can only do what you can do. So if someone walks in and they want a double DIN where a single DIN goes, then it's not going. You know, unless you're planning on fabricating a whole dash. That's why the floating radios exist now. So you would sell them a floating radio and then they'll get the big screen. But if there's nothing to do and you don't want to make a whole new dash kit, then you're kind of on your own. Hi, Mark.
All right.
Hold on, let me go. This 2018 non-amplified. We just did a video on this like last week that showed how it's a new way to do it. But in the previous way, we just go into a DSP on a 2018 F-150 non-amplified. But what's coming is the new iData piece, which is about a week or week and a half out, and you'll just be able to reflash the factory radio and go directly into a DSR1 and get 8 channels of output, or go into a... There's going to be a lot of things you can do with it. You could go into the Nove, you can go into an ARC, and a couple other things that we can't talk about yet. So, moving on. William,
right.
What's up?
How can I get a little bass in the Polaris RZR?
Head over to RockfordFosgate.com or Kicker, but I think Polaris you're going to go to Rockford. Rockford has like the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, all the way up to stage 5 that are all pre-manufactured. They're all pre-manufactured boxes that go directly into the car, and I believe they have a subwoofer box that's made to go right into there. So RockfordFosgate.com.
It is possible to purchase the custom speaker brackets from you guys. My Toyota Sienna currently have 6.5s, and would like to install the properly.
Well, I mean, so when it comes to making those brackets, we typically, like, if they don't make one, then we take the speaker and whatever's in the car, and that's what we use to make the brackets. So, you know, we'd have to have the vehicle and or the speakers to make the brackets. That's, you know, it's kind of how it works, unfortunately. We don't have anything.
I got a system done thanks to all you advice. I have a pair of 10-inch Rockford P2 Dual 2 subs and the prefab box behind the 2019 Tundra crew cab behind the seat. The PDX Change the power. Yeah, cool. Tony, say thank you.
Thank you. How can I put a floating radio if a car doesn't need a dash? So okay, so every car has some form of brackets that hold the radio in. There's something there. That's what you mount the radio to. There's always going to be some form of brackets. If it's singled in, there's going to be brackets. If it's doubled in, there's going to be brackets. If they don't have brackets, they don't have a kit. If it's just a hole in the dash, then they go buy the brackets. So like if there's factory brackets somewhere and they don't have them and no one makes an adapter, I mean, it's just that. I mean, sometimes you just have to work with what you have and figure it out. I mean, this had no speakers in it. There was none in it at all. It had the little crappy things that we made these for. And yeah, I got a really expensive tool that allows me to make these things.
Thank you.
And then I have this other tool that's attached between my ears and my eyes, and it let me build those. And that's what we came up with. Somebody else might come. I saw another guy build a whole new door panel. That's what worked for him. So you have to come up with solutions for problems that just happen. And trust in your ability to do it. If you don't feel you have the skill to do it, then turn it away and come up with a different solution. It's just, there's always going to be a problem. Every day is always going to be a problem. It's just your ability to work with what you have and figure it out. That's it.
2018 F-150, non-amplify. How do you guys integrate into that?
I answered that one already.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Does the iDataLink DM3 with the DSR1 sound as good as using an Amp Pro 17 Silverado 8-inch 9 Bose? No. No and yes. So the Amp Pro in that... Okay. So you have an Amp Pro, you have an 8-inch GM pickup truck. Chevy, GMC, whatever. There's two options available for you non-Bose. If you go with the Amp Pro GM61 and flip dit switch number 3 on it, that they don't tell you in the instructions, you will get a monoed F-tunered section, meaning that the left is going to be monoed over to the right, so you're going to have two lefts playing at the same time. So if you're listening to FM or Sirius, it might suck. However, if you're just listening to your phone or thumb drive or something like that, CarPlay, Android Auto, it's going to sound fine because that doesn't get mono. That is still a stereo. It's still going to sound great. And so that solution works in that situation where it's like, I don't care about tuner, I just want digital. In which case, that's what I'm going to go for. Now, every now and then you get a guy that's like, I listen to FM, I listen to Sirius, I pay for it, I want it to work. For that, then, we're not going to do that solution because that solution sucks. So we have to go back to high level. And then you have the chime to contend with. So what the GM3 was designed to do is for that guy that's like, I want FM, I want Sirius XM to sound just like it does now, good. I need a solution for that. Well, we need something that'll control the chime. So, boom, put a GM3 in there, throw a DSR1 on it. The DSR1, we can EQ it, make it sound good, get rid of all the headache there, and control the chime. So now I've made both people happy. So there's not one ring to rule them all. There's two solutions for two different problems and make two different people happy. So you just kind of have to know that beforehand. So when you go to talk to yourself, or if you're talking to a customer or a friend or whatever, it's like, what are you doing with it? Are you listening to FM Sirius? No. Fine. We're going to do this.
All right. I'm installing...
I don't know, Victor, but it seems to shrink every day. Go ahead.
All right. I'm installing a JL10TW3 D4 thin subwoofer and a custom build box for my Highlander. Is the audio control LC 1.800 overkill for this sub? This is going on the system that you guys installed 2 years ago, and it's finally ready to remove the power sub under the driver's seat. I want to put my ducks in a row before I drive the 1,800 miles to return for my upgrade. Hey,
so
Roy.
You have obviously you have the ACM 300, which is 300 watts, which is cool. However, the 800, I would go with the 800. I would do the 800.
Yeah.
Now, you don't necessarily have to max the 800 out. So remember, you can get an 800 and go with a different ohm load and get 400 watts, which is enough for that driver. You could obviously go max, and then we'll just, it'll just be ready to go for when you do your next phase and you get more woofers. So, I mean, I'm a fan of get as much power as you can.
Yes.
Because I can always turn it down.
Yeah.
I can't make it any louder.
Right.
So, I'm hanging. Oh, I'm hanging.
Somebody asked, what kind of bullet connectors do you use?
Stinger.
So.
Switching to the Fernando cam. Boom. Alright, so these are the bullet connectors. We're using insulated, male and female, red pill, blue pill. This is the male, obviously. This is the female. And then they go together like this. And then you have your connector, and then if you just kind of twist them and pull, they'll pull back apart. This is for 16 to 18 gauge, and then this is going to be for your 16 to 12 gauge. And that's it. That's all. The difference, the connectors are the same size. So like these, if you look at the red, you look at the blue, they're exactly the same size. The difference is the hole in the bottom. This has a bigger hole, that has a smaller hole. And that's it.
Alright. Got some Morel Maximo Ultra components and the Morel 2.5
Nice.
for an active 3-way. I'm assuming if you guys like them, I probably will. They absolutely amazing. Lower that Twitter. Thank guys for what you guys do.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Thank you for watching, man.
Thanks for being you.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Those are the best bullet connectors. Yes. Christian comes and gets them from us all the time. Scroll back up to Kevin. Oh. Kevin's saying scroll to his question. I can't get to it from where I'm at. And as soon as Fernando's done, I'll have him. What did Mark say? Your ears are tools. If Adam was here, he'd just say, you're a tool.
Alright.
Yes.
Ready?
Yes.
Alright. So, I'm a shop owner and can fab my ass off. However, tuning has always been my weak area. With the coronavirus thing, I know most classes aren't happening.
Yes.
Where online would you recommend me to go for the basics? I have a new DMRTA audio control and the 3550A RTA and the TP44 scope.
He's got all the
and
tools.
And the Audio Frog RTA. Yep.
He's got all the tools.
Yeah.
Just need to learn how to use them.
I need them. Yep.
Simple enough. Obviously for the DMRTA, how to use it, if you go to audiocontrol.com, go to the DMRTA page, you'll actually see us too.
That would be cool if you can find that.
Walking through the process in order to set up the DMRTA or how to use it, different ways to use it. But my guess is you've already got all those tools, you've already figured that out. So where you want to go to is right here. This is the EduCar training. This is Ken Ward's training, so go to www.educartraining.teachable.com. There's 3 classes on there that you can take, and all 3 of them are great. And you start with the first one, and as you go through the classes, they kind of piggyback on top of one another. So what you've learned in the first one will help you get through the second one, which will help you get through the third one. And all of them revolve around integration and DSP and tuning a DSP and the basic principles behind a DSP. The second place you want to go is back to Audio Frog. Andy does have a lot of papers that he has written about sound concepts and things like that. There's no one great place to go to learn all about DSP tuning, but Ken does a pretty good job of getting you started, and then from there you can kind of work your way through it. Now the other thing I will say is if you yourself don't have a DSP in your personal car, put one in. You have to have one. That's a great place to learn. Fernando, of course, has sat through many hours of me tuning a car, and it wasn't until we put one in his car that he was able to sit in his car and tune his car. And even Jeff Smith the other day, Fernando was like, I'm going to have Jeff listen to my car. Jeff Smith is Mr. Tuner. And he was like, dude, Way to go, buddy. So that's really what it takes. But if you watch these and then you do that, you'll start to get it. And the other thing too is a lot of people are scared of DSP. Like if the thing you want to keep in mind about DSP is you want to find a way to do it that is easily repeatable, meaning figure it out and do the same process over and over again. Anytime we get into a car, we start the same way. We start with the passenger front door, both mid-range tweeter, not at the same time. We move to the driver's front door, and then we work to the rear, and then we work to the sub. But these two are, of course, the most important, and getting those to match is really where you spend a lot of your time. And that's what takes time. The nice thing about having one in your car is you can kind of work your way through it. You could just work the EQ one day, and then you could add in time alignment, and then you could kind of go through it. A lot of times people just jump in with both feet and they have no idea what they're doing, and it gets real scary. But like I said, one more time, educartraining at teachable.com. Hit them up. You'll be all set.
All right. My 2010 VW, I don't know what's Touareg? The SUV. Anyway, the VW,
Touareg.
Yeah, exactly, that one. It's a 2020, has a 2-ohm speakers.
Yes.
And was wondering if I can put the 4-ohm speakers on it.
Yes, you can put 4-ohm speakers on it. However, depending on how efficient your speaker is, it may not be as loud. So that's part of the problem. Now, there are manufacturers out there that do make 2-ohm speakers that you can use to replace that. For example, like we were talking about, JBL and Infinity often make a 2.4 ohm speaker or something like that, or 3.3. DC's are 3.3. The
Phoenix Gold?
Audison, no, they don't make this anymore.
No, they don't make
the Audison Prima line, they make a 2-ohm mid-bass,
Mm-hmm.
so you can get the Prima 6.5 in a 2-ohm version. So there are speakers out there that are 2-ohm. The other thing, too, to keep in mind...
The K2s are 2-ohm.
The K2s are 2-ohm. Is the efficiency of the speaker. So if you have a 2-ohm driver that is of normal efficiency, but you get a 4-ohm driver that is more efficient, then even though you have technically less power going to the speaker, it will be just as loud because it is more efficient in doing more with the power you are giving it. So there are trade-offs. There are situations where the factory 2-ohm speaker isn't that efficient and it doesn't sound that good anyways. Putting an efficient 4-ohm speaker in it, it will like sound the same but be better as far as quality goes.
Hey guys, I have a 2020 Dodge Durango. I just want to know what kind of subwoofer I can replace the stock woofer with that can handle some of nice and possibly any aftermarket amplifier with the stock enclosure.
That's a tough one because the problem you run into is that woofer is really marriaged up well with that factory box, and most of the time when we try to retain the factory box, it's only because the factory subwoofer is blown. Trying to put a higher end woofer into a factory box typically doesn't work all that well. So you may want to try to find a different enclosure that goes where the factory box is. There again, like JL makes the stealth boxes that are god-awful expensive, but they do that. Or just do a search to see, because there are plenty of guys out there. I know like SRQ Customs here in Sarasota, they make a lot of fiberglass enclosures that can put a real woofer into that location. So you might want to find location, not using the factory box, and get a better woofer into there. Because if it's a factory 8-inch or even a factory 10-inch, might not matter. A lot of those factory woofers, like the Jeep, new Jeep JL is a quad coil driver. It has 4 25-watt amps power in it. Yeah, and it doesn't matter what you do in that enclosure, it's going to suck. We know, we tried. But with that, thank you guys so much for tuning in today.
Yeah.
This brings us to an hour. It's almost 7:30.
Wow, really?
If not, it already is. I know.
Crazy.
It's been a lot of fun. Teespring/store/5stars, the place you can go to get the cool shirts. Get the Run DNF, get the classic Camaro DNF shirt, or the I Know Jeff Smith. Fernando for President is in here as well, or just Car Stereo Addiction. I think you all have one. It's okay. Scroll down here in the bottom, you can get the American flag, you get the installer, or if you want to become a member of the Clean Wire Club, you can get the shirt. The Boring Life of Dean and Haley is also on here because, hey, where else am I going to put it? And then if you scroll over to Car Stereo Clips, remember Friday at 9 o'clock we will have our show there. D&F Tool Drawer is a place you can go to find all the cool tools that we use in our installation. If you scroll down here, this is where they're at. Things like hand tools, lighting, and even the camera equipment we use to film the show. It is all located here. So if you ever wanted to know some of the pieces that we use, well, we try to list most of them right here. Most of them, not all of them.
Not all of them.
And then remember to join the 12-volt Clean Wire Club, and this Friday will be the end of the competition, and then I think Monday's show we will announce who the winner is of the Kingpin Clean Wire Caddies. So we'll have that up for you, and we'll let you guys know on Monday who the winner is when we tell the new Sunday, whoever does the Clean Wire Club and gets up on there. We're also on Patreon. If you guys want to support the show, you can support us on Patreon. That's it. That's all I got. That takes us to an hour. It's Monday, guys. You know what that means. We still got a whole week worth of crap to look forward to. Yay! So make sure you join us on Instagram at 5-Star Car Stereo, where we do the show 5 minutes with 5-Star. You can see more footage of the cool little Subaru van on there.
Oh yeah, tomorrow.
Although you guys pretty much saw all of it. Tomorrow will be done though, so you guys will do a little, hey, look at me, I have this all done thing. That's it. That's all I got. Thanks so much for tuning in as always, guys. You have a wonderful week. We'll see you again tomorrow and or Friday morning at 9 o'clock.
That's right. Bye.